Hello, this is my follow-up review of my read aloud video I had just recorded a few minutes ago. And the book I read to the children is called Words Are Not for Hurting by Elizabeth Verdict. And I chose this particular book for this experience because I like the message that this book shares with the students, with the children. This book is about how words can hurt others, and it's a nice reminder for the kids to understand how they may forget some of the words that are hurtful because they might think, oh, this is okay for me to say, but it may be hurtful to that person they say it to, and they don't even realize. And I like reading these type of books to students so that I can add in my expectations of them. So when I'm reading how we do not say these words, I let them know if anybody says anything hurtful to you, you come to me and you let me know so we can figure it out together. You don't take it into your own hands to do something hurtful back to that person. You come find me. You tell me what's going on so we can resolve it together. So it's a good way for me to set out my expectations for the day. Let's see. Describe your process in preparing for your read aloud. So what I usually do when I'm preparing for my read aloud, I make sure that the book that I have is age appropriate. I also like to find out if it is a book that the children have read before, because I like to bring in books that they haven't read before or a teacher hasn't read to them before, because I like to see their first impressions of the book. I like to be a part of that. I also make sure that the time we have set out for read aloud during the day is an appropriate amount of time for the book that I choose to read. I like to make sure I have time to read the book, and I like to make sure I have time to have a class discussion of the book with my children after, so that we can talk about what happened in the book and what they took away from the story. So let's read. The next question is, how did you feel before you started reading aloud? So honestly, this read aloud video that I had recorded just a bit ago was different because I actually was not reading in front of a live group of children due to the coronavirus and schools being shut down. I could not read in front of a group of children because we are all staying at home and being safe. So I had to pretend that I was reading in front of a group of children. And I've read this book before to classrooms that I've worked in. I'm a substitute teacher, so I like to have several books on hand. And this is one of my go-tos. And so, I don't know, I felt strange, but I tried to do my best in the read aloud video. When I was done, it felt a little strange because I wasn't with a live group of children, so I couldn't have that interactive classroom discussion with them on the book and what they took away from the story. We couldn't, discuss the beginning, middle, and end, or we couldn't depict the moral of the story together. But that's typically what I would do with my students after read aloud. Next question, what were the children's reaction to the book? Well, since I wasn't doing my read aloud for this assignment in front of a live group of children, I'm going to talk about my experiences reading the book and reading this book before. With my students, I bring this book in, and a lot of time they're like, no, we haven't read that book before. So I like this book because of the message it provides the students. And it makes me happy to bring this book into the mix of their, other read aloud books that they've listened to, because this one has a good message on how we want to respect and be kind to our friends. So let me read the next question. Share what you feel were your strengths and your challenges throughout this read aloud experience. So my strength with any read aloud, I feel like, is my voice and how loud I am. I always make sure I'm reading with a loud enough volume so that all the students can hear. I think one of my strengths is how I like to ask questions throughout the story and make sure the students are listening and get them more engaged. A challenge for this particular read aloud was the fact that I wasn't reading in front of a live group of children like I typically do. It is a weird time right now for us, so I had to do my read aloud as best as I could, pretending that I was in front of a group of children, but it's still not easy because I don't have that inner engagement like I typically have when I'm reading this book. So it was pretty challenging to kind of make my read aloud video seem like I was actually in front of a group of children. I tried to do my best with that. Next question is, what could you do differently to improve your next read aloud? Well, I feel like I should be asking more questions. I should make sure during the read aloud that the children are engaged, that they are following along. I do try to ask questions, but I know sometimes I'm not on every single page or letting them tell me what they think is going to happen next. I think that's something that I could do differently next time. And what did I learn about reading aloud to children? Okay, so I know when I tell the children to come to the carpet for read aloud, they think it's time to talk to their friends. So I always start out before I begin reading, telling the students there is no talking while I'm reading. When I'm reading, voices are off, because I have been in the position where I'm reading and students start getting chatty to the person next to them, and then there's students that can't hear what I'm reading anymore. And I'm not there to read over their noise. And I tell them, I say, I'm not here to read over your noise, and you need to show me the respect I deserve. And that usually helps. That usually gets them, ready. And I always tell them, we are going to be quiet, eyes on me, and then I begin when it's quiet. What did you learn about yourself as a teacher? One thing I did learn that I think I always knew, but doing the video, is how much I really do enjoy read aloud. I love reading to the kids. I love having good stories to read them, things that I enjoy reading. I have a lot of fun getting them engaged, asking them questions. It's actually one of my favorite things to do with the students. So thank you for listening to my review on my read aloud video. I know that I was unable to do it in front of a live group of children, but I tried my best to do my read aloud as if I was in front of a classroom. This is a weird time right now because schools are closed due to the coronavirus, but I am hanging in there and doing as best as I can. So everyone out there, please be safe. Thank you.